Hello and welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast. Once again, you are being blessed to hear Ron and I in your ears.
Yes, you are.
Aren't you ever so lucky?
Well, you chose to do this, so just
Yeah,
remember that.
that's right. You can't complain. So here we are again, another week, another bloody shit winter's day in Melbourne.
Yes, it's a beautiful winter's day in Melbourne. It's been raining literally rained all day. Didn't stop.
No, and well, it did for a little bit, just as we headed to the gym. And you thought you'd be able to get your run in after the gym, but no.
No, the rain just got heavier and heavier while we're at the gym. So I've decided to be a slacker and I'll take my rest day
It was
today.
absolutely pouring
It
down. And,
was.
and Ron has a rest day normally on a Friday,
Yeah.
but we thought no, because it's actually, a little bit, well, it's just a bit crappy,
Yeah.
quite frankly. And who wants to run in crap?
Yeah. So I'm taking my rest day today and I'll run on Friday instead.
Yep, sounds like a plan. While I'm getting my lashes done,
Yeah.
having a snooze, which is what I do when I
Yeah.
get my lashes done. Getting my lashes done is my nod to making an effort because basically I'm too lazy to I've tried putting mascara on and I just end up with shit all over my face. It literally takes me an hour to put mascara on because it just ends up, uh, it's such a mess. And seriously, I can't do it. It's, um, so
Cut out the middleman. Just get the
yeah,
eyelashes done and
just get an expert to do it and
yeah.
I get to have a sleep. And they do my lashes, and I don't wear any makeup. I get my hair cut once a year if I'm lucky. I did have my yearly
You
haircut
did
on the
just the
weekend,
other weekend,
just
yeah.
the other weekend. Um, and she was like, "Oh, I haven't seen you since the wedding." I'm like, "Yeah, that's a year
That's
and a
about
bit
the last
ago."
time.
um, so I do get my lashes done, as my nod to actually making an effort to how I look, because quite frankly, I make no other effort,
You
really.
don't spend a lot of time in front of the mirror doing your makeup.
I never, there is no makeup in this house. I don't wear makeup. I don't do my hair. I put it in a ponytail. And
No.
and if we go out, I just pull the ponytail out. I
That's
don't
right.
do the
No.
hair.
Isabel doing her hair means she actually takes it out and wears it
Yeah.
loose.
And I let it dry naturally. I don't even blow dry my hair. I am that lazy. My hair's still wet from this morning's shower. Anyway, enough about me. What do you think of me?
So so what have we done this
That is
week?
a movie reference in case anybody's
Yes.
wondering. Yes.
Yeah,
Pardon?
what have we done this weekend? What this week? What's
We
been
went
on?
for a run, unsurprisingly, on Saturday,
Surprisingly.
and we did a long run because, we did. Sorry, I was just looking up some things for personal interviewing, doing my research. Oh, I'm such a dedicated
That's all right. Let me until the
podcaster.
last possible minute.
So we went for a long run in the hills. We were going to go out again to
Maroondah Dam.
Marina Dam. But my problem, it is a problem, is that when I
It's a
do
real
runs
problem.
again, especially those hill repeats, and it can get quite a tad on the stressful side. I try to do each repeat faster and faster until I'm just about keeling over and dying. And I literally don't know how to stop myself. The only way to stop myself is to not do that run. And we had to do something different because I just didn't think I could handle the pressure of trying to do each one faster and faster and faster and the downhills.
Yeah,
Because last time I got faster each uphill and each downhill, and I just don't know how much faster I can get.
because the run we do at Maroondah Dam is very measurable. Like we
Mm.
turn around at very specific spots, so it's exactly the same every time. So she can gauge her
Yeah,
pace
so
and
my
her time
only
every
other
single time.
option, perhaps, which would probably be the sensible one, I mean, I can still do it, is to just like put my watch in my bag or
Yeah,
something and, not look at it. But and I always tell people don't be a slave to your Garmin, blah, blah. And I totally agree. But it's really hard to do. And especially when it comes to, because I have a very competitive nature, and that's why I have to beat Ron.
she does.
He doesn't
No,
half the time we're doing things. The other day he was peeling apples for the apple strudel I was making, and he I was piss farting around doing something else, and he had peeled two apples, and I'm fucking chopping, trying to get. I was trying to catch. He didn't know I was
I
racing.
didn't. No, I was.
race. I caught up. I was only half an apple behind by the finish, but I was so angry at myself that I hadn't caught up and beaten him. And I'm like, oh my God, Isabel, you have a serious problem.
Yes, every now and then I do have to remind Isabel, we're not racing each other.
I am if I win. Oh, it's terrible. I race everything. It's just, oh, and sometimes it's just exhausting. And especially when I'm working with knives, it's probably not, a good idea.
Never a good idea with you.
No. So,
Uh,
yes, little did you know we were having a
I
race.
didn't realize we were having a race. Otherwise, I might have tried to go a bit faster just to teach you a lesson.
Didn't want to tip you off. Dearie me. So yes, that's why we didn't go to Marina Dam because I just couldn't handle hours and hours of me doing that.
Because we
So
were planning on doing a lot of,
five reps of the
five
top
reps
bit.
of the top of the mountain,
Yeah.
which would have made it 37
7Ks,
Ks or something like
which I
that.
still would like to do before I go to Canada, but maybe you take my, I don't know, no, because then
No, I
I'm,
can't take your watch.
I don't know what to do.
Just put it on the time. Don't have it on the GPS. Put it
Yeah,
on
but
the
I
time.
know I'll look at the time and go, it was 10:29 when I started.
Yeah,
It's hard being
it
me,
is.
especially when you've got this competitive urge in you and then you get older and you get slower. And it's like, what do you do with that competitive urge? Like, I'm struggling with it. It's really hard to know what to do. So, you know,
Hmm.
and I know people say, oh, just compete against whatever, age adjusted, whatever. But yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a really tricky one for, I was going to say aging athletes, but Jesus Christ, I'm not 70 yet. It's
No,
aging, so older athletes.
but it's one thing to say, oh, just, imagine and I do say this to you a lot.
Yeah, and
Imagine,
so helpful.
you're not,
You're not
you're not,
35 anymore,
you're not
Isabel. Why,
competing.
thank you,
Yes, you're
right?
not competing with other 35-year-olds. But, realistically, when you do get older, you do look back.
I know.
And you look back and go, oh, I could have done this so much faster when I was, when I was younger. And it's hard to get out of that
But
mindset.
it's not
But
just that, but when I used to go into races, I used to be competitive. And it's hard now that even when I put my biggest effort in, I'm really not competitive. I don't even have the drive to train as hard anymore. So,
hmm,
but the competitive urge still hasn't got, it's just, I don't know, it's just really hard. It's really hard. And it's
yeah,
just something all athletes, no matter what your level, you have to deal with is slowing down as you get older. And just the amount of freaking niggles.
yeah,
Jiminy cricket. My knee swole up after the long run on Saturday. I don't know. The hamstring suddenly started to feel funny. We did deadlifts earlier in the week, and I don't normally like to do hamstring exercises because it can set them off. But I thought, no, come on, I need to strengthen them. And yeah, lo and behold, it set them off, and that morphed right into my knee. My knee swole up. I was freaking out, thinking, oh my God, I'm
that's
not
it.
going to be able to run when I go to Canada. No catastrophizing here
No,
at
not at all.
all. Um, and I mean, I was able to run by the next day, but it was a bit slower.
It's
I did,
uncomfortable.
speaking of competitive people, I did the same run on Wednesday, and because of my sore knee, I did it a minute a kilometre slower. So that means 18 minutes slower on Sunday. Admittedly,
It's,
we'd done a 36K run with 2,400 meters of climbing the
yeah,
day before, and my knee was swollen up
yeah,
and was just a fraction on the painful side, and not just a little bit unstable
yeah,
when I was climbing up steps, sort of things in the because we did 700 meters climbing the next day. Um,
yeah.
I mean, I could tell it wasn't anything terrible. Like I knew I wasn't injuring myself, but it just wasn't quite right. So anyway,
So you had a pretty good weekend, pretty good week,
mm,
climbing.
yes, I
So
did just over 4,000 meters of climbing for the week. Go me.
yeah, which is a solid week.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And unsurprisingly, I'm tired this week.
yeah, I know. Surprise,
My
surprise.
legs feel heavy.
I
My
did.
knee's a lot better, but it's yeah.
Yeah, I did 3.5 or something like that.
Beat
Um,
you.
but
Yes.
but more impressive, my weekly total in kilometers was 99.6
Oh,
for the week, and I didn't bother going out for an extra 400 meters.
well, you should have.
I was quite content with my 99.6.
Well, that's all right because I beat you with kilometers
You
too.
did. Yeah, but you do every week. So,
Not that it's
so
a
no,
competition.
not that it's competition.
Much. Yeah,
So
so we both did a fair amount of training last week, not just distance wise. I think I did 126.93. So I didn't go out for 7 meters,
you
did
think
I?
you did about?
With a very precise one.
But I didn't look.
No, I don't think actually I don't it's not 126. Was it that much? It was something 0.93. Anyway.
I think it probably was something like that because you've done a fair bit.
No,
Oh,
121.93. I was
oh,
pumping
geez.
myself up a
Yeah,
bit. 121.93. So I should have gone out for 7 more meters and got 122.
yeah,
Anyway, but that's what happens when you're on school holidays.
yeah.
You can train a little bit more. Not that I work at the school that much, but
And we're lucky because where we are, we can actually do a midweek run into the hills as well. We don't have to
yes,
wait until
yes.
our long run on the weekend.
Yes, that's right.
So
Alrighty, so we are going to have Kelvin Yip on the podcast. And he is someone that I met through Ortra. I always want to say Aura. And he is now a state rep with me. So we're both state reps for Victoria. So go on and join the Ortra Vic group if you're Victoria. I mean, you can if you're anywhere in Australia. If you're anywhere else in Australia, though, join your state as well as Victoria.
yeah, because that's where all the good stuff
Yeah,
happens.
that's where all the cool kids hang out. And Kelvin has developed a product for runners, which I'm not going to go into too much because I want to let
We'll
him
let him.
do
Yeah.
that. So we will get to that in eine Minuten. And yeah, so thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoy our interview with Kelvin. And by the miracle of technology, when you hear our voices again, Kelvin will be here.
Are you ready?
Ooh.
Let's go.
Oh, whoops.
Oh, let's go now.
Seamless,
Let's,
absolutely seamless. Do that again.
and so let's go.
And just like that, we're back. It's
It's magic, just
amazing.
like magic.
Hi, Kelvin.
Hello, Isabel. Hello, Ron.
Hi, Kelvin.
Good to have you on the pod. Now, I did tell everyone that we met through Ortra, so clearly you're a runner. Do you want to just give us a little bit of a thumbnail on how you got into running and ultra running?
Yeah, sounds good, Isabel. Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me tonight. Yes, I guess I have always been running probably my last 10, 15 years. It's always probably around 5 to 10K, never really gone beyond 10K distance. I guess, thanks to COVID, many people got into running, especially you. You are you live in Melbourne. You probably
Yeah.
remember like, we have a lot of lockdowns. So
Oh,
during
how
the
could I
period,
forget?
We remember
yeah,
very.
exactly. I guess probably my trail running journey start back in 2022. So I have been running in my area, and basically I just look for any trails, any walking track that I can find, and just start running. At the same time, I was actually developing a mobile app. It's a navigation mobile app. So I have to find all the trails so that I can fine tune the accuracy. And yeah, it just happened that it's just fascinating to me, running on the trail. And then I enter my first race. I think it's called Warburton Trail Fest.
Yep.
Yep.
So it was a 14K trail run, and it was just amazing experience. I think I've never experienced that happiness. Crossing
Yeah.
that finish line, and yeah, ever since I just completely hooked it. And yeah, so like many trail runner, I sort of self-taught and start training, watching YouTube, listening podcasts. Unfortunately, yeah, I suffered. I think called it ITB, like just train too
Yeah.
fast, too hard.
Typical newbie runner
Exactly.
injury. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, anyway, yes, long story short, yeah, lots of lesson learned and sort of like progressing longer distance and sort of like 20 half marathon distance, 42K at Mount Buffalo Stampede. And then I
Was that
start
your
to,
first marathon?
Yeah, that was my first
That's
marathon.
a
Yeah,
heck of
yeah,
a first marathon.
yeah. It's funny because I mean, not many trail run event has the exact 42K.
Yes.
Yeah,
That was really, really good. Like I think to me,
yeah,
I mean, progressing beyond that, like I think it's gonna be a bit harder. And then I had my first ultra at Ultra Kosciuszko like last year,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
UTMB. And yeah, so ever since I just start like
And what distance did you do there?
yeah, so I did 50K.
Yep.
50K, it was yeah, it's a great experience. And then I did a couple other ultra, I think probably one well-known Oscars Hut to Hut.
Yep.
That was brutal.
Yep.
yep, sure is.
And then I just did the UTA 100. Yeah. So overall, I think in the last 2 years, I probably have done about 15 over around 15 trail race
Wow.
and a couple of ultras. Yeah, just I mean, I think this is, I mean, my goal now is always we call it a BHA, like a big audacious goal,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So really want to one day can head to Europe and start doing those alpine like UTMB obviously is my big goal. But
mhm,
before that, I may do some other trailways, like the one in Mount Fuji,
Ah, yeah, that'd
yeah,
be
yeah,
Mount
good.
Fuji, or a couple others in Hong Kong. So yeah, just very different race, different scenery.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, try to gain different sort of experience. Yeah, so that's
And I
me.
think
It's
some of
about what.
those overseas races are really good because we just don't have the mountains here. And
Yes.
so you kind of have to travel to get that kind of those big mountains.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. You have, I mean, you can say you've run in the mountains here, but until you get to the Swiss Alps,
Yeah.
you don't really know what running in the
Oh,
mountains.
really?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's very exposed as well, isn't it? Like those
it
Yes.
is,
Yeah.
yeah, very
yeah,
much so.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
So
long, steep climbs,
Yeah.
you
yeah.
Yeah.
know, that you just can't experience here
You
with our
just
lower
go on
mountains.
forever. That's all
Yeah.
good. And so, so now, so you've only really in such a short time, you've obviously been really bitten hard by the bug.
Yep.
So now you're a fully converted trail and ultra runner, and you're spreading the good word. So that's awesome. But I assume, as with all runners, you get up to the ultra distances and you start having trouble with nutrition. And that's where you came up with some own ideas of your own. Am I right?
Yeah, Isabel, that's right. I actually I was always passionate about science, like because when I was back in high school, I studied biochemistry and just always I mean really look I mean interested in the science and but I mean my sort of like my career last 20 years I actually in IT, so I had a computer science background, so always in the digital space, never really focusing on the sort of like sports science or dietitians until only recently, and just a completely different world, like from computer science to food
Yes.
science, like it's quite fascinating actually. So yeah, just a completely yeah, fall in love in that space. Yeah, yeah.
And what led you to go over into that?
Yeah, I guess I mean really I guess I mean from my last 2 years experience, like there's so much we can focus on the training, like we can there's a are things that we can control. Like I think to me is that like there's always understand what we can control or what we cannot control, like especially during the race, like so there's things that like you can have in control prior to the race or during the race, and things that you just cannot control, like the weather or some other factors. There's a million things can actually go wrong, like
Oh
uh,
yeah.
and nutrition is one of the things that I think we can always try our best to control, like to understand, because the things that like they it's pretty much I mean it's scientific proven that like hey how much carbs you need, how much carb you sort of like pre low your carbs, how much electrolyte sodium you may need. The things that like you can actually spend a bit of your time and to really understand like how you can actually control those factors. And yeah, that's sort of like I always quite passionate about like the nutrition side, but never really look into, oh, this is something that actually I can come up with an idea that like potentially can help other runners. Yeah, so I guess I mean the idea I have actually come out from the my DNF experience in during Oscar's Hard to Up. Yeah, so I think on that race I have been sort of like consuming a lot of energy gel, and at the end it's just like my gut just not feeling great after like I think 12, 14 hours. Like it's just I don't even want to look at the gel. It's just like like
Yeah.
don't want to look at it. And at the same time, yeah, I think at the end I sort of like in my mind, I think I would love to have something a bit more natural, like and less sweet.
Yeah.
And I always love honey. Like so I'm not sure in Asia, like we use honey for many food. Like so we put honey on barbecue. Like we mix honey with lemon, ginger, things like that. It's a very very common sort of like food that we consume daily. And then at the same time, I know honey has other nutrient benefit like so antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and also like really high carbs by nature. So other mineral as well. So that's sort of like my I guess my light bulb moment that hey, actually maybe I can do some research on how we can actually use honey as a natural ingredient for energy supplement. That's sort of like yeah. So I mean last 3-4 months like been doing a lot of study research, talking to a lot of expert like yourself and some other dietitians. I also connect to a professor and also a bee scientist. Yeah, just a yeah, very interesting. Like to understand that space. Like, oh, that's actually something that like we can actually potentially can use. And yeah, so just I mean, sort of like very steep learning curve. Like to really understand that side of the science and producing the product. Yeah.
So how did you go from having that light bulb moment and that idea and the idea of using honey to actually developing a product? Because it's one thing to have an idea, but then to have the know.
Like I could have lots of ideas, but nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I guess it's a good question, Ron, is about I guess this is actually one of the mindset almost like any trail or ultra runner. Like say, there's always a goal you want to achieve, but between what you are right now to the goal, there's a lot of hurdle and things. Like I guess I mean really just that once you commit something and that commitment can really help you drive and overcome all the hurdle. Like I must admit, it's an extremely difficult, steep learning curve for me because all the food consultant I've spoken to, all the manufacturers I've spoken to, they all say, "Oh, Kelvin, it's gonna take at least like 12 months to develop a product. You probably need 100 grand like capital to start a product." And I mean to me, it's just like wow. Is that right? I mean, I must admit, I think some of the product definitely need that long. But there's a way that like I sort of like found out that like I can actually fast track that. And I guess also coming from the IT industry and IT background, that may help a little bit. Like because in IT we always talk about agile, like we always talk about how we can develop a lean product, and just trial and error. I think and that really helped me to understand, hey, things that I can actually fast track that, things that I can actually learn, self-talk, and just talking to the right people. I think that really helped. And yeah, just a lot of experiment. I mean, while I'm sort of like working out the formula, my whole house is just like in a drug lab. Like sometimes I just worry that like our neighbor see like, hey, how come Kelvin like been wearing masks and you know.
So you've got a meth lab going on.
So you've actually developed the I guess ingredients in your own home.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. And I think the tricky part with developing this product or pretty much any food product, especially for the sports supplement, is that there's so many factors you have to consider. Not only the flavor have to be right, and flavor is one of the things that's very personal. Right? So, for example, like Isabel, you like this one, but Ron, you may find that too sweet. Like you can never please everyone, right? So I try to find that common ground. What I sort of like develop or formulate is that the flavor is almost like a base flavor. So at the moment, it just keep it almost original. Like so, in the future, the next step is hey, let's add some more different flavor, make it a bit stronger, things like that. And at the same time, have to work out the actual carbs amount, actual electrolyte amount, and then also work out the costing of the ingredient. What is the minimum quantity I can order? Because all the manufacturer they have or supplier they have the MOQ, like minimum order quantity. So I don't want to like I think like for example one of the supplier thought, Kelvin, you have to order like 500 kilogram, like that's like 20 grand gone. Like so it's just I guess I mean pretty much every step I like there's always things that I have to overcome like every day, every week. Similar to like trail running, like so you always have bump into something that once you finish this race, there's a next race is going to be more difficult, like more challenge, like how you can overcome that. So I don't see this is the final kind of like product, but still as a progress, like as a journey to me. So
you were sort of talking about the flavors, like a stronger honey flavor, or the sort of the more neutral one you've got. Are you planning on at some point like adding different flavors to it, or are you going
to like a lemon or a
exactly because I think I think last few weeks I've been sending out sample to a lot of professional trail runner, and a lot of them sort of like come back to me with what they prefer, some of the flavor. So I think because now we have the sort of like the base flavor, I think you've tried that as well. Like it's a very light flavor, like so it's very easy for me to add additional flavor on top of it.
Well, we tried it, and I find it good because I don't like strong flavors when I'm running. Like you say, it's very personal, but I certainly find when you're running, you need things with not too much of a strong flavor. And I find that I could drink it quite easily because it wasn't like you said, it wasn't too sweet. I could taste the honey, but it wasn't overpowering.
That's right.
And I felt like it gave us good energy. So a serve, how much carbs would that give you?
So one serve that will give you around 40 grams of carbs. So one serve we are looking at about 50 gram that will give you around 40 grams of carbs. So that will mix about like depends on how like what sort of like so that will so if you sort of like mix with 500 ml flask, soft flask, like that will give you around 40 grams of carbs.
No, that's good. And I mean, I know certainly as a sports nutritionist, when I'm trying to like help athletes with carb load and that sort of thing, I always add honey into the mix because it gives gives really good carbs. And like you say, it's got nutrients as well. It's not just just a high sugar source. It's not like having sugar. It's actually got other things as well. And so when you talk about the electrolytes, what have we got there?
So the electrolyte, we're using sea salt, Himalayan sea salt, and then we have the potassium citrate, calcium, and magnesium. So those like four main ingredients for electrolyte. So I think, but the most important is the sodium. As you know, like sodium is also very important for sort of like the carbs absorbing the carbs. So the sodium is a lot higher amount, whilst its potassium is slightly less. So these four ingredients is the electrolyte.
Excellent. And so obviously, like you say, you mix it in with water, and certainly I find it mixed in quite well. Like
Yep.
I tend to put water in my bottle first, then I put the powder in, and then I put the water on top. So I find in that way that things always mix in when I do it that way. And people can buy it. How can people buy it? Like, do they buy it in single serve sachets, or do they buy it in a big bag?
And what in fact I don't think we've actually mentioned it. What in fact is the
Yeah, is
product
it
called?
I know, so I figured everyone else did.
What's that? Say again.
What is the product called? I don't think we've actually
We haven't mentioned the name of the product. Everyone's wasting my bated breath.
So the company name is called Endu1. So it's a ENDU and then number one .com. So the product name is called Honey Boost. So it's HNUI honey and then BOOST. So we have different versions. So the one I sent to you is we call it ultra version. Have higher carb, higher sodium. And then we have a sort of like lighter version. We call it endurance. And then we have one, we call it everyday sports. That's the light version. So let's say if you're looking at a marathon or a trail one that is around no more than 4 hours, then you can always try the endurance one. If you're looking at ultra, then obviously take the ultra. So you may also mix them, like, because for example, let's say you may want to start with the endurance and then later at the race you can switch to endurance. So yes, it's sort of like, we have the website with all the information already.
I had a look on the website. It's a good looking website. Of course, one would expect that.
Just out of interest, what athletes are you working with? You mentioned before that you've been working with some athletes.
Yeah, so I'm actually working with Tom Day.
Yep. We've had him on the pod a couple of times.
And his partner Mia. And also a few others. And one of the new athlete I've been working with, his name Adrian Copnan. So he actually met Tom. Tom actually we recommend the product to him. So both met at the Ultraman race. It was crazy 10 kilometers swim, and then I just cannot imagine 10 kilometers
That's
swim.
terrible. Yes.
So I can hardly swim one lap actually, like terrible. I stay on the land.
Is he the one that's doing the Bigfoot 200?
Yes. He actually, after he tried the product, he loved it so much that like he actually said to me he's gonna like really just use Honey Boost for his Bigfoot 200.
Awesome.
So I think a couple of days ago, I actually helped him work out, which I can share with you as well, Isabella. Like, I actually helped him work out the hydration trail running plan. So basically, we have on the spreadsheet, like I put down all the checkpoint, aid station, and also the distance between each aid station and all the elevation and things like that. And then he will, in the spreadsheet, like he will put in on average how much carbs you need per hour, what other energy gel or product he used, and the carbs concentrations. And then the spreadsheet will have a formula to work out how much hydration he will need, how many bottle of flask he will need. So although he may not like stick to the plan exactly, but his support crew, they're gonna know that at checkpoint aid station 3, he's gonna need 3 bottle of flask, so they can pre-mix ready to go. So this is something that I actually I create for a lot of runners at the UTA 100 and UTA 50. So they can sort of like have an idea that like what sort of like nutrition and hydration they may need. So yeah, I was actually helping him because I also want him to succeed in the Bigfoot. It's a big one.
Absolutely.
Crazy. 12,000 meters elevation, like just crazy. Like
Yeah. No, well that's great. So I mean, and yeah, so that's some decent athletes testing that under some decent conditions, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yep.
that's certainly what you want. So that's great. So I think you know, athletes listening, you know, this is a product that you're not going to get the sick stomach from, you know, like you did with the endless gels, how it kind of rots your guts almost in a way. You're not going to get that with this product because it is natural and it just sits so much better
Yeah.
in your stomach.
And the taste is not overpowering because when you're doing an ultra, after a while, the last thing you want is something that's really flavorful. You want something that's kind of less intense, because your taste buds are just going,
I've had enough.
Yeah, they're going, don't give me anything strong. I'm just going to reject it.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you're drinking water with a slight, you know,
just a nice tinge,
nice
you know?
easy taste.
Yeah.
So,
No, it was and I almost find the further we got into it, the more I was, you know, I could drink a fair bit of it, like as in some electrolyte drinks that we have sometimes, like I find them off-putting. I don't like them. Whereas this one, I was drinking it quite easily and happily. So
yeah, well, we have a cupboard full of electrolyite
because I keep
drinks
buying them and
Isabel's
then I don't like them.
She's used them twice and gone, I don't actually like them.
No, so I'm
they
very
just go to the cupboard.
fussy. So yeah, no, I did enjoy that and the added that it's got, you know, carbs in it and that sort of thing. So we definitely recommend, and I think people should go to your website. It's just .com. It's not .com.au.
It's a .com, yes, so Endu1.com.
Yeah, .com. I'll put it in the show notes so that people can go to that. Now, you also said you had an announcement to make. What would that be?
It's not so much an announcement, but like something that I think worth sharing. Like, so I think may a lot of probably audience listener like on this podcast, they may know a couple months ago or a couple of weeks ago, there's been a sort of like news around one of the energy product like that.
That's right. We can say it's Spring Energy. Yep.
Spring Energy. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, because it's a fact. It's out there. You know,
yeah.
So
we're not saying anything that people can't read somewhere else.
Or haven't been talked about on social media.
It was actually quite shocking news to me because especially I feel for those athletes that like have been relying on the product like for their race or for their PB and then they have like low on energy and then they're gonna look at something completely different. They could be looking at is it my shoes or is it my preparation? Yeah. They would never look at the product, right? And I think to me that was a sort of a moment that I think as a manufacturer of a sports supplement, I think we all should be responsible for the product. And those caps, man, are the most important set like your users are buying, like not because of your packaging, not because of the flavor, is the cap, right?
Yeah.
So I actually had since that incident, I actually contact Jason Koo.
Okay.
I actually asked him, look, I'm a new company from Australia. I stand by my product and I want to send my honey boost to the lab and test it. Like, honestly, this is a quite I mean, at that time I probably thought I probably shoot myself into my foot, like
it could go very wrong.
No,
but
it could, but
anyway, I contacted the lab and I sent them a sample, like 50 gram, actually more than 50 gram, 350 gram of the honey boost powder. So basically, just today, like right on time, like this morning, I did the report, and it's really good. I think they're very positive. The result. So it's exactly almost like what I sort of like promote, advertise on the website. So the carbs level is pretty much spot on. 90 gram, like basically 90%, 90 gram of the carbs, and also the sodium amount. So just mean that yeah, so something that I will put up on the website.
Yeah, and that
So,
people can trust
yeah,
what they're getting. That what you say
exactly.
is in there is in it.
Exactly. So I guess it's something that like obviously is not. I mean, with this kind of sports supplement product, like even I think in the US they are not. Well, I guess I mean that they are regulated, but they are not like they don't need you to provide a certificate to prove information. But I think all the manufacturers should be, especially those big companies, they should be responsible. Hey, this is our test verified. Similar to the company called Informed, I think you probably have heard of. In the US, they have a company specializing in testing the ingredient, if whether any prohibited ingredient. So once that's complete, that you get a badge, and then you can show it on your website or on your product. So it's going to be
okay.
But Informed, I don't think they will test the carbs and sodium amount. They will just toast those are prohibited sort of like element or ingredient. Yeah. So I guess I mean really I think just to show to our potential customer or user that like, hey, this has been tested and verified. Rest assured that like we are selling you a true natural product, not just on paper or a number.
Yes. Not just a wish, but it actually is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Which is very important because certainly the people's attitudes and like they're naturally doubtful now. Once one of those big companies gets caught out, they're going, well, how do we know they're all not doing that?
Yeah. So, I would imagine there will be some company that the product probably not exactly.
Yes, that's right.
But it's hard to prove, right? Like I think unless you take every single product and doing the test, and the test is not cheap. Like I can tell you, like the test definitely is quite expensive. And I think Jason could like I think he mentioned that in his podcast. I think I think he spent like $5,000, 4 or 5 grand on testing. I think 4 product from Spring. So yeah, definitely not something that like we can do it easily.
Yeah. But I think worth doing to prove to people that you have a quality product there.
Most important.
Well, that's fantastic, and it's just great also to see an Australian product and a natural Australian product out there. So I think that's awesome that you've stepped up and you've done that, and like you're saying, such a quick time, and you obviously really believe in your product, and rightly so. So listeners, go to the show notes, look up click on the website and give it a try, because honestly, Ron and I have tried it, and it's great, and we highly recommend that you give it a go.
And it's just good to support local Australian businesses as well.
Support local businesses, absolutely. So yes, all right. Anything else you wanted to share? Anything we didn't ask that the listeners should know?
Yeah, I think one of the last thing I was just want to mention, I mean, with the Honey Boost product, like, I mean, I think a lot of listener audience may know that honey itself, it contains glucose and fructose. Just make sure that like if you're allergic to fructose, like it may not be the best product. However, fructose is actually a very, very effective energy source, especially in the later stage of your race. Because I think you probably know it's about like, I think usually our muscle can only take on around 60 grams of glycogen per hour. So if you need more carbs, you need to utilize different carbohydrate. And fructose is one of them that like will give you the kick. So that's why on the product itself, the packaging, I actually call it a drill fill. So it gives you the sort of like the 50% of the ingredient the 50% glycogen in honey that will give you glucose, give you the sort of like instant energy kick. And then later on, like let's say 3-4 hours later, you still need energy. That is the time that the fructose from the honey will actually give you the kick.
Awesome.
I think that's really how we differentiate our product from other product on the market that product only have, let's say, maltodextrin, like, so that give you that instant energy, but it once your body already sort of like max out the amount of glucose it can absorb,
then
cannot.
it can access the
Yeah,
fructose.
exactly. So that's something I guess we'll just want to call out to the potential user.
Awesome. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Isabel. Thank you, Ron.
No worries. And we look forward to seeing lots of people drinking Endu1 at or Honey Boost and those at the races. And if you see us or Kelvin, come and tell us what you think of it. Let us know that you're giving it a try.
We're always happy to know that we've passed on a good product.
A good product. Yeah.
Awesome. Any feedback is great, Isabel. Also to the other user, like any even negative feedback is very extremely important to myself and to the company. Just feel free to let us know.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks so much, Kelvin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel. Thank you, Ron. All right, that's it.
Bye.